everybody. Welcome to Big Things Kentucky. First off, I want to give a shout out to my man, Coach Bew. He's having some health complications right now, but he should be back with us shortly. Y'all keep him in his thoughts and prayers. He wanted to just give a shout out, let everybody know he's doing good, and he will be back. And he's thanks to everybody for the thoughts and concern. As we get ready to start this year's football season, we're going to bring on our man, Professor Peck, to help us get everything in line for this season. All right, we got our man, Jared, the Professor Peck. Jared, man, here we are, the 2023 season. What's this year what for you?
Year 4, I believe.
Year 4.
I'm a newsman a lot longer than that, but I've been with the high schools since 2019 season, so right before the COVID thing hit.
So, as we get ready for the season, I know we've seen you had your top 100 out, you ranked all the teams, you got everything covered now. It's time to get started. What's some of your thoughts on this season?
Well, I'm excited to see what Douglas can do in 6A. They got a tough road this weekend going against Archbishop Hoban, and then Bryan Station's going to Trinity. First off, they got them last year. That was a playoff game. This year they're going to see Douglas and Bryan Station are going to Trinity in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see what's what in 6A pretty quickly, and see whether or not Bryan Station and Frederick Douglass can hang with one of the Louisville's big threes. And Douglas looked good in the scrimmage against St. X, but it was just a scrimmage. But they looked really good. LCA looks really good. I think they've got a really brutal schedule. That schedule is ridiculous. But I think if they get through that and when everybody's upright, they should be a force to be reckoned with in 2A. I like Sears' chances this year to win a playoff game. I like the Tates Creek Dunbar rivalry that's going on. Both those teams are pretty good. Tates Creek is coming on. Tates Creek's got a few more players this year, and the players look bigger and stronger than maybe they did a year ago.
Yes,
so it might not be 3 in a row for Dunbar, but then it might, because Dunbar's got something going there with Coach Wes Johnson for the last few years. They've won 3 in a row. So it's an exciting football time. It's great football over the state. Like with my 100 players list that I put out in the Herald Leader this past Sunday, I start with 200 players, and it takes me a while to figure out who's gonna make the cut.
Now, what made you I'm sorry. Why 100?
Because it's an ICU number. We used to do 50.
Uh-huh.
We used to do 50 players, and I got it the first year, and I went, there's too many good players. I don't want to do 50.
Okay.
I don't want to do 50. So I go through here, and Herald Leader 100 has a nice ring to it.
It does.
And that's the reason why it's 100. And then, today I have the Central Kentucky players out and the Lexington players out. So I get some of the other players out when I do lists for Central Kentucky and lists for Lexington. But for a nice even number, this gets most of the big scholarship offer guys in. The top 10 is decided by the coaches, because I let coaches send me who they think their top 10 is, and I get about 70 coaches who send me top 10 lists. Okay. Now, some of them only send me their own players, but a lot of times,
a little biased.
Some coaches, give me an honest list. And really, there are only 25 or so players that make the recruiting rankings.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the recruiting rankings, there's only 15 for one class and 7 in another. And so if you're just looking for that for see who the high school talent is, there's a lot more high school talent out there than 25. So I'm just trying to highlight as many kids as I can. And unfortunately I can't make the Herald Leader 187 because that's where my list was. So I got to make it a Herald Leader 100.
Okay.
And but I spend weeks going over that, seeing scholarship offers, looking at what the coaches say about them. Some kids, there's a kid in the top 50 that doesn't have any published scholarship offers, but he's consistently in the top 10 rushing for his school and his class. Not just his class, but the statewide. And I look at that too. It's not just whether you got a scholarship offer or not.
Yeah.
Are you performing on the field? And then that gets you there.
All right. Now, as we get ready for week 1, I was looking at a lot of the game schedule and whatever, and just for me, this is probably the first time I've seen. There are a lot of really top-ranked matchups this year than previous years. Seems like it to me.
Yeah, it seems like the RPI effect is doing its thing. And one thing is you want to play good teams to get yourself tested for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But then you have another situation is where there's not much benefit for playing some teams. Mm-hmm. And then there's always been, Douglas can only schedule 9 games this year because nobody really wants to play Douglas. Yeah. It's no benefit to them to play a 6A team. Maybe in the past they could get that game. In LCA, there's no benefit for many teams to play LCA. I mean, they can't, they've got the top tier. Playing all the number 1s, but the number 2s and number 3s and number 4s don't want,
they don't want anything to do.
They don't really want to face a 2A team. In Class 6A teams, that would hurt them in their RPI if they lost to a 2A team. So it's a tough boat for them to be in. Pikeville's the same way. Pikeville hasn't had 10 games for the last couple of years.
Really?
Because nobody really wants to go up against Pikeville and what they've been able to do the last few years. Now, it works out, but it makes for a great regular season, that's for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely feel the difference in that there are more top teams. Like Dennis Johnson, Woodford County said, there's some people he played and counted on that don't want to renew their contracts with him because of how good they've been over the year. And that's part of it. And it's really why Bryan Station is playing Trinity this year, why Douglas is playing Trinity this year. That's it's part of the give and take of high school football.
Season, I know you ranked all the teams and everything.
I didn't rank them. Coaches ranked them.
Okay.
I compiled them.
All right. Yes,
I compiled them. Okay. Now I had somebody come at me and go, "What are you doing leaving Ashland out of the 3A top 10?" It's like, well, one, I don't vote in the top 10. This is a coach's vote, and 2, Ashland's in 4A now.
So it's like, come on, man, do your research.
We'll see you tomorrow in the top 10 for the 4A class top 10.
Okay, so as just kind of looking at it, we've seen the top 10 rankings. I think we've all kind of, pretty.
It's the usual suspects.
Yeah, the usual suspects. You got the usual suspects. Is there anything or any teams maybe that kind of jump out to you or stand out to you as we get ready to start the season? We'll start with like 1A. Is there anybody there?
In 1A, I like Sarah being in the top 10 and being in their own class this year, or being in their own district this year that's not Pikeville and Hazard. That was a really tough sledding for them to get out of Pikeville and Hazard. And then, of course, they were bracketed up against the other Eastern Kentucky schools. So their first playoff game was against Harlan, and Harlan beat the stuffing out of them. So in Central Kentucky, now that they're in the Central Kentucky district, they should have a little more success because I think they're still going to be bracketed up against maybe Raceland and Paris. But if they win their district, they might get somebody they might get Paris, or they might get one of those other teams out of that district, Nicholas County or something like that. And that would be good for them. In 2A, it's, it looks like, if LCA is not able to win a bunch of these games where they're playing number one, their RPI is going to suffer for that, and they might be, we think that they can make it through the first 2 rounds. They might be traveling again, might be going to Mayfield to try to get back to Kroger Field, because we know Mayfield's going to do their thing.
And now what about Beechwood? Because I know their coach, he retired.
Yep.
Coach Rash, love Coach Rash. Shout out to Coach Rash. We got to talk to him just about every year. We've been doing big things. Is there anything coming out of them? What can we expect out of them? Just keep rolling?
Yeah, well, I'll believe Beechwood has a down year when Beechwood has a down year. They've got a Xavier Campbell kid up there. They've got a few others. They always have playmakers. They've got a great system. They play great defense. I don't think that changes with a new coach. The philosophy might change. But, I'm going to have to – it's a wait and see for whether Beechwood is going to take a step back. Everybody thinks that they're still going to be Beechwood this year. We'll see. They were voted number 1 again, and then Mayfield's number 2. And rightly so, Mayfield has got a bunch of dudes back. Whereas Beechwood has cycled through some players. Mayfield really, Juju Sparks is back. Their quarterback is back. They've got a lot of pieces back in Mayfield, man. They'll be looking to get it back to Kroger Field as well.
Okay. Now the 3A one, 3A I think is going to be real fun. Yeah. You've got Cal, Central moved in. Lexington Catholic, I mean, that one's going, some slugfest going to happen.
Yeah, the jumble that happened in realignment for 3A and 4A has made it really, really interesting because, I think Tillman jumped up to 4A along with, Boyle County's in there. But 3A is very interesting with Cal and Central. And not only are they, together in 3A, they're in the same district this year. So the district goes Cal, Central, and Elizabethtown. And Elizabethtown was in the state finals a couple of years ago. And it's like, that's some district. Good gravy. And it's like, wow. I mean, that's probably one of the toughest districts. Douglas and Bryan Station being in the district together is kind of silly as well with Madison Central and George Rogers Clark. But, I mean, there are some really tough, 3A districts the way it's jumbled out. And, that whoever survives Cal and Central, it's like, look out. They're going to be coming.
Yeah. Now, when you say 4A, is that kind of boiling everybody else?
It's boiling everybody else until somebody beats them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something else. Boyle has got the most D1 commitment kind of offers, of the teams that are in there with them. Johnson Central always has a shot with the way they play. We don't know what Franklin County is going to do this year. It's just, Paducah Tillman, are they ready to step up that level and be there? I mean, they've got some dudes back. The core of the team that was at the state finals a couple of years ago, they've got a lot of those kids back. But 4A is a little different than 3A to get there and get through everything. So we'll see. I mean, but Boyle County, Boyle County is going to be the favorite until somebody in their class smacks them in the mouth. They've been smacked in the mouth a couple of times over the years, but not by anybody that that can knock them out of the playoffs. Lexington Catholic got them last year, but now Lexington Catholic is down in 3A, and although they face each other again, that's not a district game for some reason. And then Covenant Catholic is down in 4A now too. And look out for that. That's
the one team that everybody's been talking about.
That's a more dangerous team than some of the others we've talked about.
Okay. And now we're just 5A. I'm kind of seeing Bowling Green, Scott County, Woodford, kind of. Yeah, no. Yeah,
I mean it's Bowling Green is the favorite. They got the most votes. They've got Deuce Bailey back. Everybody's pointing to them. But Scott County's got some dudes and a style of play that's pretty impressive. It's hard. Nobody really wants to play the wing tee. Nobody wants to deal with it because it's hard to defend and it's hard to, run, and then it's an 80-yard touchdown pass over your head. It's hard to deal with. And Southwestern is going to be real good this year. Pulaski County. The Pulaski-Southwestern matchup this year, I might very well go to that game. I think, depending on what week it falls. But that's been a terrific rivalry over the last several years. And, those two teams are also in the top 10. I mean, it's a mess. Do I think that Scott County can probably get into the state semifinals and beyond? Yep, I do. I think Bowling Green is going to be there as well. Woodford County's we'll find out on Saturday when they play Bullitt East what they have, because Bullitt East is kind of in a rebuilding mode, even though they're still ranked in the top 10. We'll see. I mean, if Woodford if it's not a coin flip game with Bullitt East, Woodford might be in trouble in 5A with what else, they've got coming on. But, they've got a ton of players too. Their quarterback's back. Makai Smith is back. Yeah. Their question is in their line, offensive line, defensive line. Whether those dudes can match up with the other teams in Class 5A.
All right. And then, of course, the big dogs, we've always talked about the big three, but I think 6A may be as open as it's ever been.
It is open as it's ever been. With St. X getting knocked out early last year, Trinity losing to Bryan Station last year, it just feels like the big three are not. That aura of invincibility is not there anymore. Now, can they get it back? Sure, absolutely, they can get it back. But right now, it feels like it could be, the big 5 or 6 or 7. Douglas got some number 1 votes. Bryan Station got some number 1 votes from the coaches. Now, St. X got the most number 1 votes, and everybody believes St. X is it. But when we saw St. X scrimmage Douglas, that didn't look like, in prior years, it looked like big brother, little brother.
Yes.
And this year, that scrimmage looked pretty even. It looked like, I'll score, you score. I'll stop you, you stop me.
Yes.
That looked like an even game. Now, can't tell much from preseason. Don't know. They definitely didn't show everything that they were going to do. But with how everything shook out last year, and Bullitt East winning the state title last year, that makes everybody believe.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
And then the fact even Mayo getting there, because Mayo had throughout the year, everybody kind of throwing dirt on them.
Oh yeah, they were.
And then you take the almost miracle win. Really, they were beat, to some people say. So.
Oh yeah, they had a miracle win to get to the finals. It was incredible, and before you didn't get those miracles. You got your beat down, and you said, "Thank you. Where's my silver trophy?
Where's my Royal trophy? My regional championship trophy?" Yes.
So hopefully that's changed a little bit because it definitely feels more competitive.
Okay. Well, Jared, man, thanks for kind of getting us rounded up and ready for the season. You got any plans? Where you going this week?
I think we're going to take in Highlands with Coach Bob Spire coming back to Lexington Catholic. He founded Lexington Catholic way back when. He was there for 15 seasons. He's now coaching at Highlands. Highlands is, I think, number 5 in Class 5A. And then Lexington Catholic is number 3 in Class 3A. So that's going to be a good matchup we're going to take in. And then on Saturday, we're going down to Mercer for the Fort Herod Bowl with Woodford and Bullitt East. And then it's going to be Mercer and Taylor County. So that's what we're taking in this year. I can't really follow Douglas everywhere, and I can't follow Bryan Station everywhere. So we're going to get them later on in the year, especially on October 14th.
Which is at noon. It's going to be noon on
Saturday kickoff. So, yeah, it's going to be something. Hopefully, it'll be a nice fall day.
Hopefully. Yes. Well, Jared, man, y'all make sure y'all check Jared out at HL Preps. Anything else you want to get out before we get you out of here?
I appreciate you having me on, Truck. It's always great. And I wish Coach Bew the best. I mean, I know he's got a little health issue going on, so prayers to him and get a speedy recovery for that.
All right. Thank you, man. And keep doing big things, Jared.
Thank you.
Man, good stuff with Jared as always. And we've been ready to kick off Week 1. All right, Week 1, man, we got some humdingers. We're going to kick things off at the Battle of Elkhorn Creek Bowl at the Bird's Nest on Great Crossings High School. Up first, we'll have Scott County taking on Madison Southern. 2 5A schools. Scott County coming in ranked number 2 in 5A. My man, Coach McKee, is giddy right now. Well, I'm trying to tell y'all, I ain't seen my coach this happy since we started doing big things. So look for huge things out of my Cardinals, baby. Coach Payne in his second year with the Eagles, he's building something special there, y'all. Keep a lookout for Madison Southern. But right now, Scott County is that man. Yes, we are. Let's go Cardinals. In the second game of this bowl game, we got Franklin County. They lost Mormon, but they're bringing back more. Look for Franklin County. They keep doing what they've been doing. Great Crossings. Coach Bolin, I think they're more so retooling at Great Crossings. They got a new district, new classification. Look for a little bit of challenging season for the Warhawks this season. I like what they're doing, but give me Franklin County for this one. Up next, we got the Clark County Bowl at GRC. GRC will also be inducting people into their Hall of Fame. First up, we got Bessie Lane taking on Berea. This game is going to be interesting because both schools will be having new head coaches. Bessie Lane's new head coach will be Mike Howard. Then we have John Thomas taking over for Coach Frank Parks. Coach Thomas was on Coach Parks' staff the last 2 seasons, so look for some continuity in that. But Berea has to replace Jason Corbin and Yamil Cruz, 2 talented players from last season's team. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. Give me Bessie Lane in this one, though. Then we have Central Hardin taking on GRC. I'll tell you what, if you like to see Russian football, make sure you check this game out. Central Harding had over 3,000 yards rushing last season, and they'll be bringing back a lot of that. GRC, they lost Keelan Washington, who is now playing at Bryan Station, and they've lost a few other players. I know Coach Cherico is in the process of building his culture and getting things in place. Look for this to be a challenging season for the Cardinals without Keelan Washington, but I know Coach Cherico will find a way, but not this week. Give me Central Harding. Next up, we got the Mingy Beef Jerky Bowl. Gotta love that Mingy Beef Jerky, baby. Up next, we got an interesting matchup. Oldham County, who used to be a Big Things County usual as they were in the district with Bryan Station, but now they've been taken out of that district, will be taking on Lafayette. Both teams went winless last season. Oldham County will have a new coach, Sean Little, and Lafayette, Coach Lawson, who was an interim head coach last season, is now the head coach. He's got to put a lot of his pieces in place. We've seen some big things out of Lafayette. Their last scrimmage against Danville, they're starting to look like things are falling into place. This one's going to be interesting, y'all. Who do I pick? Let's go Generals. I like what Coach Lawson is doing. He's got his people in place. I think it's starting to turn around. They got a little energy in their last scrimmage against Danville. I think they're going to keep it rolling and start off the season 1-0. Let's go Generals, baby. Okay, now for the second game of the Mingy Beef Jerky Bowl, make sure I can't say that enough. The Mingy Beef Jerky Bowl. Make sure you get you some Mingy Beef Jerky. I think we made some great spokespersons for Mingy Beef Jerky, y'all. We got Fleming County coming in, taking on Henry Clay. We previewed and talked to Coach Gay. Coach Gay's looking for a fast start for his Blue Devils. This may be a way to get them going. Fleming County has a nice returning quarterback in Nate Rourke. I hope I got that right, Nate Rourke. And running back Austin Trent. Look for them to try to put up some big numbers against the Henry Clay defense. Give me Henry Clay for this one, y'all. Up next, we got the East-West Bowl. This is at East Jessamine. Up first, we've got the East Jessamine Jaguars. Rawr! Looking to put the paws back on them, y'all. You know I love my Jaguars. Coach Bolden is really excited about this team. We talked to him in a preseason preview. I think he really likes what he's got going on down there. They got a tough opening season matchup against a Wayne County team that had a first-round playoff win last year and returned quite a few players. This one's going to be interesting. But let's go Jags, baby. Let's put them paws on them. Rawr! The second game of that evening will be West Jessamine taking on Danville. West Jessamine is moving on from the Jacob Jones era, outstanding athlete who had Dalton Carter catching passes. Those two guys were dynamic. Look for West Jessamine's offensive line to be the strength of this team going into the season. They'll be having a new quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do. Danville, we've seen them in scrimmages under Coach Parks. He's got some things going. They're looking pretty good. Ooh. Give me West Jessamine in this one, though. I just think West Jessamine is going to be a little too much for Danville right now. Next up, we got Madison Central traveling to Johnson Central. Coach Blair's opening up the season on the road with a tough one. Don't too many people going to Johnson Central to get a win. I'm not expecting big things out of this one for my Indians. Let's go Johnson Central. Up next, we got Western Hills at Bourbon County. We got two new coaches in this one. We talked to Coach Barreline. He's really excited. I like what he's doing at Bourbon County. Give me the Colonels on this one. Now we got my Bulldogs. Paul Lawrence Dunbar traveling to take on the Connor Cougars. Always a good game when one of Big Things County travels up north to take on one of the Northern Kentucky schools. Coach Johnson is really excited about his group. They're not running the gauntlet this year like they have before. Look for them to start off with a win. Let's go Bulldogs. Now we got Taste Creek traveling to Louisville to take on Eastern. Our conversations with Coach Hawks has me really impressed and looking forward to seeing what this Taste Creek team has to offer this season. Eastern will have a new old coach, or is it an old new coach? I'm not sure. But Coach Whalens is returning. He coached at Eastern before. He's returning to try and get the Eagles back on track. This one's going to be interesting. So, give me Taste Creek, baby. Let's go Commodores. Coach Hawks is going to do big things. I like what's going on out of Center Parkway. Let's go Creek. Up next, we got my Sayre Spartans. Love what Coach Pennington is doing there. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Spartans do in their new district. They open up against Covington Holy Cross. Look for young Brock Kaufman to make a lot of plays for the younger Pennington. Give me Sayre for this one. Now, this is one that Jared talked about earlier. This Lexington Catholic taking on Highlands game. Lexington Catholic has a new coach, Coach Nick B, coming from St. X. I call him Nick B because I don't want to mess his name up right now, and I want to keep our relationship on a good footing. As he takes on Lexington Catholic, I don't know what you want to call him, the guru, Coach Spires, as he returns home. This is going to be a fun one because there's going to be a lot of fanfare for Coach Spires returning. He's got Highlands trending back up towards the Highlands that we remember. Look out for my man Jackson Wasick to make big plays for Lexington Catholic. But without my man Max DeGraff, this one could be tough. He made a lot of plays. Give me Highlands on this one, y'all. Now we got Bryan Station traveling to Trinity. I know Coach Bew is geek for this one. Hopefully he can make it, but I know who he's picking. There's no secret to who he's picking. Coach Hawkins has his defenders as being a team to watch in 6A, and this would be a great way for them to put everybody on notice by opening the season up with a back-to-back win against Trinity. Not many teams beat Trinity 2 times in a row. They're going to Trinity. It's a lot at stake on this one for an opening game. An interesting addition to the defenders this offseason is GRC leading rusher Keelan Jaws Washington. Look for him to make a lot of plays and add more to an already potent Bryan Station running game. Can the defenders go into Trinity and knock off the Rocks again? Yeehaw! Let's go Station Nation, baby. Pride of the North Side, we doing big things. Coach Hawkins and my defenders, we win and we ride, baby. Let's put the state on notice. Give me the defenders. All right, those were the Friday games. Saturday, we got some good ones coming up Saturday. Up next, we got Woodford County, whoa, baby, taking on defending 6A state champion Bullitt East. Now, Woodford is returning a lot of talented from a very talented team. Look for quarterback Andrew Nason to have a big year with all of the weapons and athletes surrounded by him. It's one thing to see how this line gels, because it's always been a strength. Look for them to pick up. Look for them to do big things, as always, because Coach Johnson, if he can do anything, he can show Coach them linemen. Love Coach Johnson's linemen. Coach Keegan Kendrick probably shocked the state. 14 straight wins to take the 6A state championship. They lost a lot of players. So is this more of a case of rebuilding or reloading for Bullitt East? This is a great test to start the season off, but give me Woodford County in this one, y'all. Now, we got the LCA Eagles. My man Doug Charles, as we've said before, he wants all the smoke. So he's traveling to Western Kentucky to take on probably the 5A state favorite, Bowling Green, at Western Kentucky for this bowl game. This one's going to be a knockdown drag out right here. Can the 2A powerful Eagles run with the 5A power Bowling Green Purples? I can't wait to see how this one turns out. Give me Bowling Green on this one, though. And then finally, we end the week with the Northeast Ohio Showcase, which is Ohio versus everybody. My Frederick Douglass Broncos will be playing Saturday, taking on defending Ohio state champ Bishop Holden. Everybody knows Douglass won the 5A state championship. Now we're moving on to the next chapter in Frederick Douglass. We talked to Coach McPete, and he's excited about this. And this is a great challenge for Douglass to open up the season with their new national schedule. They had a good scrimmage against, some people would say, #1 ranked St. X last week. Now this is a whole nother animal as they move up in weight class. Like Coach McPee says, he wants to go up there, gain some experience, let his young players see what it's like and know what it's like to play against top talent and top competition, because that's where they're going to be going from here on out. Look for the Broncos to go up there and have a tough game against Archbishop Holden, but give me Holden on this one, y'all. Okay, those are my week 1 picks. Coach Bew has sent his. Here's Coach Bu's picks. Tune in next week to see how we start off these picks. As always, we want to ask you to keep being a living donor. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share Big Things Kentucky. And as always, peace.